Congratulations!
Congratulations, Erica Slezak.
On March 17th, Erica Slezak celebrated her 40th anniversary as Victoria Lord Davidson on One Life to Live.
Here's to you, Erica. Can't get him to marry you on the next Oprah Winfrey Show.
Give Viki some credit. Clint, she's handled every disappointment she's had so far. She can handle Leo Cromwell, whether he's a real thing or not.
Oh, boy. You and Larry are a pair, you know. You really think it is so easy.
No, nobody said that it was easy. We just think that Viki deserves the right to plot her own course, you know, and face the consequences.
Well, some consequences are too big a risk, Bo.
If you're using Nikki Smith as an excuse...
It's not an excuse. Nikki Smith is real. Every time we think she's out of our lives, she comes back again. Now, why do you think I was tossing and turning all night long last night? I want to tell Viki. I want to tell her everything. But at the same time, I don't want that catastrophe to come back into our lives.
Yeah, but Nikki Smith may not be the only catastrophe. You lose Viki's trust now, you may never get it back.
I'm sorry, Bo. I know you mean well. But I can't tell Viki anything more until I'm absolutely sure that Leo Cromwell is the man from her past.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to try to tell you what you ought to do. I just hope that you, for your sake and for Viki's, you resolve this whole thing sooner than later.
That's exactly what I plan to do.
Well, what do you plan to do?
You know, Bo, one thing I learned in the newspaper business, sometimes you have to go directly to the source.
Cromwell? Now, wait a minute.
I know what I'm doing. Something I should have done a long time ago.
Well, I may not be the very model of a modern archaeologist, but at least I no longer look like a drunken bum.
You look positively distinguished, Dad. Hey, if I was the dean of the University of Llanview, I'd hire you in a minute.
Christine, were you into my bag when I was out of the room?
Yes, Father, I cannot tell a lie. I wanted to look at this photograph you were...
How dare you?
Dad?
You have no right to do that.
I'm sorry.
Those are my personal possessions, and I thank you in future to respect my privacy. Oh, darling, I'm sorry. Forgive me for overreacting to a lot of silly old photographs.
Well, I'd forgive you if I knew what was wrong.
Forget it. It's nothing. This is your day, your big interview. The last thing I want to do is to spoil it.
Then why did you explode like that?
Well, I've just been on edge lately. But I promise you it has nothing to do with you.
Well, then whatever it is, why can't I help you?
It's just something that I have to work out on my own.
When? If it has you this tense and this
Soon.
secretive...
Now, today. Yes, there's no point in putting it off any longer. I'm going to solve the problem this very day.
Oh, Leo, going somewhere?
Mr. Buchanan, how did you know where to find me?
Well, actually, I figured you just might be taking advantage of your daughter's hospitality, and since Wade told me where she lived...
I see. Well, I'd love to stand here and chat with you, but I'm already late
You
for
know,
the
this
appointment.
really won't take very long. I just need a couple simple answers to a couple of very simple questions.
Well, if it's about the Benjamin Franklin project, you can save your breath. I've already decided to give it up.
It's about my wife. To be more precise, it's about a personality disorder she suffered a long time ago. You might have come across it in your research on Nikki Smith.
Mr. Buchanan.
Don't deny it. I know that you weren't looking for information on Benjamin Franklin in that microfilm down at the Banner. So, you were reading up on Nikki Smith. So therefore, you must know that my wife created that other identity some 25 years ago. And as Nikki Smith, she ran away to New York, got mixed up with the wrong crowd, and met a certain fella. A fella named Leonard.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't you? Don't you? Well, then you don't know that this Leonard character fathered her firstborn child? A daughter?
It sounds like a very sad story. The truth is...
Ah, the truth. Yes. The truth. That's exactly why I came here. And it's exactly what I'm not leaving without. I got just two questions. Is your name Leonard? Your real name? Is it Leonard? And were you Nikki Smith's lover? I know that you weren't looking for information about Benjamin Franklin in that microfilm down at the Banner. You were reading up on Nikki Smith. So now you know that my wife created that other identity for herself some 25 years ago. And as Nikki Smith, she ran away to New York, got mixed up with the wrong crowd, and met a certain fella named Leonard.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't you? Then you don't know that this Leonard character fathered her firstborn child? A daughter?
It sounds like a very sad story, but the truth is...
Ah, the truth. Now, that is exactly why I came here, Leo. For the truth. That's exactly why I came here, and it's exactly what I'm not leaving without. Now, just two things. Is your real name Leonard? And were you Nikki Smith's lover?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I never met the woman in my life. In fact, this is the first time that I ever heard of her.
Then why were you so interested in that article on Nikki Smith?
I was looking for anything that had to do with Victor Lord.
Why?
Well, as you know, I was certain that Benjamin Franklin's letters were buried somewhere up near the Lord family cabin. I hoped that he might have stumbled across some evidence to prove my theory.
If he had, don't you think he would have dug them up himself?
Well, not necessarily. Perhaps he didn't quite believe it himself, but nonetheless printed an article about it. I was just looking for clues.
Oh, you were looking for clues, all right, Leo, but they didn't have anything to do with any cock and bull story about letters and mistresses, now did they?
I resent your implications. I am an archaeologist, and as such, history is a very important tool of my trade.
Whose history? Nikki Smith's?
Why do you persist in throwing her name at me?
Because you know damn well who she is.
And I say I don't.
Then how do you explain the fact that you were in New York the same time as Nikki Smith? Don't look surprised. You're not the only one who knows how to dig up the past, you know.
You actually went to all the trouble of checking up on me.
Proving you a liar and a phony made it well worth every minute I spent at it.
How dare you? I am neither of those things.
No? Your police record says otherwise. But let's get the record straight on you and Nikki. Are you going to deny that you were in New York in 1963?
Of course not. But so were 8 million other people. Why don't you track them down, ask them if they knew this woman you keep babbling about?
Because you are the one who showed up at the cabin. You are the one who fell apart when Viki walked into my office the other day, and you are the one who pulled up that article on Nikki Smith. Well, I'm the one who is not leaving here until I get some straight answers from you.
I don't know why you persist in harassing me, but I'm getting tired of it. So I would appreciate it if you would kindly leave.
I just told you, I'm not leaving here till I get some straight answers.
Very well. You leave me no choice.
Where do you think you're going?
I am going to fetch the proprietor of this rooming house and have him throw you out.
All right, now just hold on. Calm down. Will you just
barge in here like the neighborhood bully asking questions, demanding answers, and I'm sick and tired of it. Now, either you leave or I call the police.
Leo, I'm sorry, but this is very important. It's very important that I get the truth.
Whose truth? I keep telling you, I don't know this Nikki Smith person you keep talking about, and you don't believe me.
I can't believe you when you keep on lying to me.
Here we go again.
Wait a minute. What about your daughter?
What about her?
Nikki Smith got pregnant in New York. Now, the other day when you saw Viki, you said that she reminded you of someone you had met a long time ago. Your daughter is the right age.
Wait a minute. Are you implying that my daughter...
I'm not implying anything. I'm asking. Is Christine Viki's daughter?
My daughter is the most important thing in my life. And I refuse to have her mixed up in this craziness. And if you even think of implicating her, I promise you, I shall go straight to the police and have them arrest you for harassment. Do I make myself clear?
Okay, Leo, you win this round. But you haven't heard the last of us. Or me. And that is a promise.
Nikki Smith. I thought that banshee was out of Vicky's life for good.
Well, she's still a very big part of my present problem.
In what way?
Rafe, you're gonna have to trust me on this. Now, there's a lot of things I'd like to explain, but I can't. At least not yet.
Now listen, cousin, if you say it's a serious problem, that's good enough for me.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
What can I do for you?
I need a favor.
You name it, it's yours.
I have to get some information on a fellow named Cromwell. Leo or Leonard Cromwell.
Uh-huh. Now, who's he?
Someone from Vicky's past. That's all I can tell you.
Okay, do you have an address on this guy?
Wilmington, Delaware. Before that, he might have lived in New York.
Now, Clint, Wilmington's a big town. I mean, New York's even bigger. You got something else to go on? Anything?
Well, I'm pretty sure he had to have spent some time in jail.
Do you have any idea where?
No, but I got John Russell working on some angles. Maybe he can pin it down for me.
Well, I don't understand. If you got John working on the case, what do you need me for?
John's a private investigator. You're a cop. You can get some doors to open that John couldn't get through.
True.
So, anyway, there are aspects of this nightmare that I'd just like to keep in the family.
You wait, nightmare. Now, just a second. I want to know what's going on here, Clint.
I've told you all I can, Rafe. Now, the rest you're just going to have to take on faith.
Okay. I'll see what I can find.
Thanks. One more thing.
Okay.
Don't say anything to Viki.
You want to tell
Bring
me?
anything you come up with straight to me.
You want to tell me why?
I just don't want to upset her until all the facts are in.
Clint, I don't know. Digging into Vicky's past without letting her in on it. Are you sure you know what you're doing?
I hope so. I hope so. There's a lot at stake here, Rafe. Including my future with Viki.
You're late, Leo.
I almost didn't make it here at all.
Why? What was the problem?
Clint Buchanan. He knows something's up, and it's scaring the hell out of me.
Wait a minute, what happened?
He started asking questions about Christine. I swear, if my daughter is hurt in any way by this...
No one is going to be hurt. Calm down.
I will not calm down. Christine is a happy young woman. I want her to stay that way.
Nothing will make her happier than finding the mother that she has longed for all her life. She will be shocked at first, I'm sure, but I'm also sure that she is going to be thrilled when she discovers that her mother is Viki Buchanan.
Well, speak of the devil. I just left a message on your machine. Hello, Miss Parsons.
Mr. Buchanan?
I wasn't aware that you were back in Landview.
Well, as you may know, I'm attending a social worker seminar in Philadelphia this week.
I didn't know that.
Oh. Well, in any case, I can't keep my mind on the meetings. I've been thinking about our conversation last week. Since Nikki Smith was my very first case, and I realize how important finding her daughter must be to her, I want to do everything I can to help.
Well, have you remembered something that might help us?
For what it's worth, I've remembered the name of Nikki's lover. Yeah?
Hi. I know I'm 5 minutes early. I can wait in the reception area if you want. We had an appointment today, remember? Oh, don't tell me you've changed your mind.
No, of course not. I'm sorry. I've been very involved with catching up on things. I haven't really looked at my appointment calendar at all. Well, come in. Have a seat. Are you all right, Christine?
I think I will be once my heart gets back in its right place. Kind of dropped to my toes when I thought you were going to brush me off. But if you'll just give me 5 minutes, could be the most important 5 minutes of my life.
Think of Christine's excitement when she discovers that the beautiful and charming Viki Buchanan is her mother. How could she possibly hate you?
She will hate me for having lied to her. Now, there's no point in arguing.
There is no argument, Leo. I only want what's best for you and Christine.
I know what's best for me and Christine, and that is to leave Landview at once. Look, I want to thank you for all the help that you've given me, but we have to leave. It's the only way.
What was your lover's name?
Leonard Cromwell.
You sure of that?
Absolutely. Except Nikki referred to him as Leo.
She mentioned him.
That's right. I remember it well now. After she'd been examined by the doctor, and he'd confirmed that she was pregnant, she was extremely upset. Well, I suggested we go for a walk in the park. I tried to accentuate the positive, how much happiness and joy a child would bring into her life, that sort of thing.
What was her response?
She was excited, and yet she was worried. She was afraid Leo wouldn't be very happy about the baby. But that's about all I can remember her saying.
Well, what about conversations you had with her after that?
Well, I only saw her once. I'd collected some literature on prenatal care, which I gave her.
And did she return to the doctor?
Not the one she'd been assigned to. At least, if she did, he failed to notify me.
Let's get back to Leo. Do you remember anything else in his conversation with you?
I seem to remember Leo asking if she was indeed pregnant, and if there were any indications that the pregnancy would be other than normal.
So obviously she told him about the baby.
I assume they discussed it.
Why did he call you? Was he saying that he didn't believe her?
I have no idea. I've racked my brain trying to remember the whole conversation, but it was so long ago. I'm sorry.
Did you have any conversations with other friends of hers?
I'm fairly sure I didn't, but I can't swear to it.
Did you ever meet this Mr. Cromwell, or did you just talk to him on the phone?
We only talked on the phone, and just that one time, as I recall. I wish there were more I could tell you, but I'm afraid that's it.
Well, that's okay. We understand. It's not easy to remember details of a conversation that took place that long ago, but you did your best, and we thank you.
I just hope it may be helpful in your search for Nikki's daughter.
So do I. Thanks for your concern.
If I happen to think of anything else, I'll give you a call.
If you can't reach Clint, leave word on my service, okay?
I will, yes.
And thanks again for your time and effort.
You're welcome. I hope, if you see Nikki, you'll give her my best.
You say that you love your daughter and that you are doing all of this for her. You are a liar. You're only trying to protect yourself.
Yes, I know. I have no illusions about myself. But my daughter is the one precious thing in my life, and I'm not about to risk losing her.
Losing her to a mother's love? How can love harm your daughter?
How do you know how Viki Buchanan is going to react, or Christine? You stand there playing God with people's lives and expect everyone to neatly fall into place, but people have guts and emotions, Michael. Christine will hate me for having lied to her, and she'll probably hate her mother for having abandoned her, and that hatred could ruin Christine's life, and I cannot take that risk.
I cannot accept that, Leo. If you leave and deny Christine her mother, you will be ruining her life.
Would you like some coffee or some tea?
No, thanks. I'd spill it on you, and that would be the end of my life for sure.
Why would that be the end of your life?
Well, you'd hate me. You'd throw me out. You'd much less hire me as a photographer for the banner.
Oh, and that's what's going to change the course of your entire life, is it?
Yes, ma'am. And if you'll give me a chance to prove myself, I'm going to make you proud of me. I am a fearless photographer. I don't mind the hours. I'll take all the hours the other photographers don't want. And if they don't want an assignment because they think it's not exciting, I will make it exciting for your readers. And if you give me a good assignment...
Stop. Take a deep breath before you pass out from lack of oxygen, please.
I just want to get everything in that I want to say.
Slow down. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. Maybe I better let my pictures do the talking for me.
Good idea.
What's wrong? Is that the wrong picture to start off with?
No. No, it's stunning. When were these taken?
Last year in Peru.
My goodness. You have an extraordinary sensitivity and maturity for someone your age. How old are you?
I'm 25, but I've been on my own for a long time, and that's not a complaint. Actually, I'm very fortunate for the way things worked out for me.
What do you mean?
By not having a mother, and my father's not a 9-to-5 kind of guy. Otherwise, I don't think I would have appreciated all the adventures he took me on. I'd probably be into nail polish and fashion design and climbing the corporate ladder like the other kids I went to school with.
Did your mother and father divorce when you were young?
No, my mother died when I was a baby, so all I know about her is what my dad's told me.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Can't miss what you never had.
You know, Christine, so far I've looked at 6 pictures. 3 of them are about mothers and children.
I worked with a photographer in London who used to believe that the pictures we take tell as much about the photographer as they do with the subject. I guess he was right.
I've learned something else from looking at your photographs. You're not nearly as tough as you'd like people to believe, are you?
You are the most selfish man I have ever met. Either you drop your daughter at a neighbor's and traipse off to Egypt or Peru, chasing after your stupid dreams, or you drag her with you around the world, living on $2 a day, waiting for your ship to come in. I know your whole sad story, Leo. You haven't an ounce of compassion for your daughter.
You're dead wrong. Christine loved those expeditions. They were a great adventure for her.
All you want is your name in the history books. Now, you listen to me. I have spent years and a small fortune on this venture. Everything has gone rather smoothly so far, and I expect it to continue that way.
Not at my daughter's expense.
If you leave, it will be at your daughter's expense. Instead of enjoying the love and luxury Viki Buchanan will surely lavish on her, she will be spending weekends for the next 15 years visiting you in prison.
The fraud charges against me were dropped.
Because I arranged for them to be dropped. I can just as easily tell the judge that I made a terrible mistake. Shall I call him right now?
Being cooped up in prison would kill me, and seeing me there would kill Christine.
It's your decision, Leo. You can give Viki and Christine the happiness they deserve, or you can watch the smile in your daughter's eyes turn to pain and horror when she discovers that her beloved father is a fraud. You profess to love your daughter, Leo. Why don't you prove it?
All right. All right. You win.
No. We win. Especially you. Keep in touch.
Well, at least we know the name of the baby's father.
Yes?
Leo Cromwell.
Still, I want to do some checking around.
Why? You heard Miss Parsons.
I know it. And I'm sure she means well, Clint, but let's face it, 25 years is a long time to remember the details of a conversation with someone you hardly even knew.
Oh, really? I remember a conversation I had back in the 7th grade with a kid named Donnie Taylor. Now, come on. That woman didn't pull this stuff out of thin air. She said she has been thinking about Nicky Smith ever since we had a conversation last week. And everything she said only confirms Leo Cromwell's actions up to now.
Maybe.
John, what do you mean, maybe? Now, he freaked out when he saw Viki. Then he goes down and goes to the microfilm library in the Banner and starts looking up things on Nicky Smith. He lived in New York City the same time Nicky lived there. Her social worker said that Nikki's lover was named Leonard Cromwell, whom Nikki referred to as Leo. Now, as plain as the nose on your face. Come on, Christine Cromwell is Vicky's daughter.
Clint, you confronted Leo, right? Not only did he deny it, he said you were crazy.
I know what the man said, but you tell me, why would he walk away from searching for the Benjamin Franklin's love letters, huh? A chance to make history for himself. Why would he do that? Why, when a man has been a loser all his life, would he throw away a chance to all of a sudden be a winner? I'll tell you why. He's afraid that his daughter is going to find out who her real mother is.
Well, maybe Rafe will have some answers for us.
No, the only person who's got the right answers is Leo. All I got to do is throw him the right questions.
Hello, Michael.
What are you doing here?
I heard you were renovating the Saunders mansion. I thought I'd come and take a look. Give you my opinion.
Gee, thanks. But I've had all the opinions I need.
It's free of charge. What have you got to lose?
Nothing is free of charge, Gabrielle.
Well, if you don't mind the question, don't you think this is a bit much for a wife you don't even love? A wife that's only going to be in Landview for 2, 3 weeks out of the year, maybe?
How I spend my money is no concern of yours. What I would like to know is why you couldn't ring the doorbell and wait to be invited in, as I'm sure you were taught to do.
Let's just say I took the wrong path, ended up in the solarium. The doors were open.
You've taken a couple of wrong paths lately, haven't you?
That may be. But it's a good thing those doors were open, because if they hadn't been, I would have had to stay outside freezing cold while you and your guest finished your conversation, as I was taught to do.
How long have you been standing out there?
Long enough.
Long enough to eavesdrop on my private business?
It seems that your business matter is no longer private.
Now, how did you get this shot?
I met this man in Paris who had a small plane, and he took me up in it for a couple of hours.
Oh, I see. Were you strapped to the wings, or were you leaning out the door?
I was leaning out the door. I had a safety belt on. It was as safe as standing on the ground. That one was taken in Belize, and the other was taken in New York.
Very interesting juxtaposition, isn't it? A poor South American family and a group of debutantes and their escorts in New York City.
Look at the faces. The people from Belize have the same dignity as the socialites. Actually more, considering the hardships they endure.
Dignity. That seems to be a theme that runs through this whole book. The worker of the steel mill and the woman hanging out the wash.
That's his wife. And actually, I think that's what life's all about, dignity. I learned that from my father. He firmly believes in the family man and that it's our responsibility to treat everyone equally, no matter what their circumstances happen to be.
Well, he sounds like rather an extraordinary person.
He's a dreamer. Some people think he's kind of flaky, but the thing is, he hasn't lost his innocence. He's still a child. And he believes that anything is possible as long as you're right by people.
You are a very amazing young woman.
I don't think I'm all that amazing, but thanks.
How much have you seen of Landview? Have you had enough time to roam around with your photographic eye?
Yeah, I think I've about covered it.
Good. What strikes you most about our fair city?
The homeless. I expect to see it in a big city, but here breaks my heart.
How would you like to do something for them?
Like work in a soup kitchen or something?
No, I'd do a photo essay on them for the banner. I'd like to hire you on a freelance basis. If your photographs are as good as these indicate you are, it could lead to a permanent position at the banner if you're interested. Now, is that a yes?
Yes. Yes, thank you. Thanks.
Well, hello again, Mr. Cromwell.
There's a law against breaking and entering.
I didn't break in. I paid my way in. Simple exchange of American currency for an opportunity to give an estimate on any loose tile you might have in the bathroom. Same sort of cheap con job I'm sure you used 100 times.
Well, if you've checked the tiles, will you please leave?
Not until we get something straight about your relationship with Nicky Smith.
There is nothing to discuss. I never met the woman. I am sick and tired of you harassing me.
I'm real sorry that you see this as harassment.
I can't help you, Mr. Buchanan.
Is Christine Nicky's daughter?
Get out! I will not have you hurting my daughter or anyone else.
You know, I came for the truth. And I'm not about to stop looking until I find it. I got an idea that if I keep on searching, I might turn up a few other things that you might not want your daughter to know about you. But that's up to you.
Wait. The hell with it. I'll tell you everything.
Just answer that one question.
Yes. Christine is Nicky Smith's daughter. We don't always find the truth to our liking, Mr. Buchanan, but there's not very much we can do about it.
Why'd you come to Landview? What do you want with my wife?
Married for money on the next Oprah Winfrey Show.
My research into Ben Franklin's papers led me here.
You knew that Viki and I owned that cabin in the mountains.
Yes, but I had no idea that there was any connection between your wife and Nicky Smith. When I met Nicky in New York in 1963, she told me she was from Philadelphia and that her parents were deceased. I never questioned her background too deeply. When I saw your wife in the Banner office, I couldn't believe my eyes. I know the theory that everyone has a twin somewhere in the world, and I assumed that your wife was proof of that theory.
So you checked out Vicky's past just to make sure.
That's right.
And when you discovered that Nicky was my wife's alter ego, you figured maybe there was something in it for you. I mean, after all, my wife is a very wealthy woman, and you are a two-bit con man.
I may be a two-bit con man, Mr. Buchanan, but I can assure you that my curiosity about your wife had nothing to do with money. A man never forgets his first love. And seeing your wife was a very confusing experience for me. All the feelings that I had for her came rushing back. But they were feelings that I shared with someone she can't remember. Now, I don't know how to deal with that, and I'm damn sure that Viki doesn't know how to deal with it either. That is why I'm taking my daughter and leaving town.
No, you can't leave without Viki knowing the truth.
Why drag up a past that she can't even remember?
Because Christina's her daughter, and she has a right to know it. Just as Christine has a right to know her real mother.
Christine has managed very well all these years with just me to look after her.
Damn it, man, they've had the past 25 years stolen from them. The least you can do is give them a future. What are you afraid of? Losing her?
Of course I am. How can she ever forgive me for having lied to her?
Could she forgive you for not telling her the truth now that you know it? Viki is not about to give up her search, I guarantee you that. And one of these days she will uncover the truth.
All right. But I must insist on one favor. You keep this between us for now. This news is going to turn Christine's life upside down, and I want to break it to her as gently as I know how.
Now, you're asking me to keep my wife in the dark.
Just for 24 hours. You gave me a choice. Now I'm giving you one. Now you either let me do this my own way, or I will take Christine out of the country, and Viki will never see her again.
That sounds like a threat.
It's the only way I can protect my daughter. You take it or you leave it.
All right. 24 hours. But the clock starts now.
You have the audacity of a cobra.
Only when I'm threatened. And those legal papers you had delivered to me by one of your lawyers, they definitely threaten my future.
You backed yourself into that corner by swindling Delilah.
Those were all my designs. Delilah couldn't care less about the business, and she certainly didn't contribute anything to that fashion show.
If you win in court and the judge removes the injunction against your company, I will consider reinvesting.
And if you take your investment out of my company, I haven't got a hope in hell of getting that place started up again.
That's the breaks, Gabrielle. If you can't cover your losses, perhaps you shouldn't be playing poker with the big boys. Now say goodbye.
Not until we play this hand, Michael. And it looks as though I have a royal flush. You see, I know that you are paying Leo Cromwell to get involved with Viki Buchanan. I also know you threatened him with jail if he didn't cooperate. I also know you've been working on this plan for some years, so the stakes must be extremely high. But you're only halfway to your goal. Now, if some little mishap should come along and destroy everything you've worked so hard for, just like you pulling your money out of my company would destroy everything I've worked so hard for, do I need to go on?
Be careful, Gabrielle.
Why?
What do you want?
I want to play with the big boys. And I know I can be a great help to you.
Yeah. You have yet to prove that.
You haven't given me a chance to prove my loyalty. Trust me. Trust me with the truth. Tell me why Viki Buchanan is so important to you.
You should try Monte Carlo. You would be a millionaire in no time.
I'm much more interested in these stakes.
You know, I am sure that many people have thought of blackmailing me, but you are actually the first one to try it.
Well, that must win me some points.
We shall see, Gabrielle.
I have to gamble, Michael. I don't have a choice. Besides, it's much more beneficial for me to be on your side than against you. That's why I didn't tell Viki about the audio tape.
You're not doing this just for a dress design business. You're about to up the ante, aren't you?
When I was a little girl, I dreamed about being the queen of the castle. I just could never find the right castle.
You want this place. And me with it, I suppose.
You men, you're all such egotists. You really do believe that women just lie around waiting to marry you. I'm not interested in marriage. I don't have the time. But when I do, I'll be sure to let you know.
Then just what castle are you lusting after?
The Holden Towers. You have everything in position. You might have to make a few changes. But it can't be that difficult to take the hotel away from Max.
So you're after revenge.
In spades.
You realize, of course, that his whole life is tied up in that hotel.
Precisely why I want it.
You know, for a tiny woman, you are a real powerhouse.
I know. Do we have a deal?
We do. As of this moment, we begin a new partnership.
Hi.
Hi. Did you get the note I sent round about Christine?
Christine Cromwell?
Yes. Yes, she came by with her portfolio earlier. She's a very promising talent. I gave her an assignment.
She's a reporter?
No, she's a photographer. She's going to do the essay on the homeless for us. Do you know who she reminds me of?
No, who?
Dorothea Lange. She has the same sensitivity, the same feeling and concern for others that marked Lange's work. I kept 2 of her pictures to show them to you. Do you like them?
They're wonderful.
You know, darling, when I was looking at the pictures, I kept thinking there, but for the grace of God go I. It could very well have happened to Nikki Smith, you know. She could have ended up just like those people. homeless and desperate, and all alone. But instead, I live in a magnificent house on a beautiful estate. I have wonderful children. And I have a husband that I love so very, very much. Except he has a little bit of trouble being open with me.
Viki.
Darling, I believe that I had every right to be angry with you before, but I had no right to storm out on you, and I'm terribly sorry for that. I should have stayed. We should have talked and resolved it. Instead, I've had an absolutely miserable day, except for a few cheerful moments with Christine. And I don't ever want that to happen again.
You have to understand that I was doing it to protect you.
Honey, protect Kevin and Joey and Jessica. They need it. I don't. Look, I can deal with whatever we're going to find out about my daughter. What I can't deal with is you keeping me in the dark because you're afraid to trust my strength. Please, please promise me that from now on you'll tell me everything.
I'll do my damnedest.
Thank you. We have so much love to share. I just pray to God when we do find my daughter, she'll be willing to share it with us.
Well, it's going to be up to her.
I know. But I think somehow we'll make it work.
Well, why don't we get out of here? You about ready to go home?
No, not quite. I have a few little things to finish up, but you go ahead. I won't be long.
Okay. I'll be waiting.
Be like discovering King Tut's tomb or the Dead Sea Scrolls or Ben Franklin's papers, but it's close. You know, I paid the rent for the end of the month. Why are our bags packed?
We're leaving here right now.